going on there. Okay. Goes to voicemail, he said. Sorry about that, Jason. It did not tell me that you were calling in. I was on the other screen. I'm going to try to give you another call and see if that works. It's ringing this time.
I got you.
Is this Jason?
I got you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so what state have you been calling me from today?
Texas. I'm down a little north of Corpus Christi, Texas.
Is it just me? Is it really hard to hear him? Can you hear him okay?
There you go. Can you hear me now?
That's a little bit better, yeah. I am
All
hard
right.
hearing, and this is not normally, I normally have bone conducting headphones that I use, but those weren't working, so. So from Texas, I have somebody else I know from Texas, somebody I happen to be married to. Anyway, so please tell me, I've been seeing different, I don't know anything about the situation other than people are telling me, hey, you got to take a call from this guy. So what is so awesome that
How far back do you need me to go back?
Oh Lord, well, I don't know, but
it's been going on for about 2 years.
Okay.
Okay, so I own a fitness center in Texas, and I had the fire department come on my property without my permission, and they did an inspection. So my gym is memberships only. You got to have a key access to get in. They waited for a gym member to go in, went behind them. They've inspected my gym before, and they just called me. I let them in, no big deal. So I was kind, nice, called them and said, hey, y'all can't do that. Next time call me. And then their chief emailed me, said he would take care of it, discipline the fire department. Well, an hour after he emailed me, he emailed me right back and said that they can do whatever they want per this policy. They can go on my property whenever they want, and they do it to everybody. And I wrote him back, and I said, that's not how the Constitution is written. That's not how it works. Here's your case law. And he basically told me that I was against the fire department, and I didn't like them, and I wouldn't do whatever they wanted me to do anyway, and kind of like blew me off. So I went to some council meetings. I was very nice, polite, talked to them for about 2 months to get some help on, their fire marshal and their fire department coming on my property. And after about 2 months of asking them, they came in and to my building, to my gym, and threatened to kick in my doors with 4 armed cops to do yet another inspection. Long story short, they wind up doing 5 inspections in 3 months roughly, and you're only supposed to do one every 2 years. So they were definitely harassing me.
Right.
The code enforcement guy got on my side. He actually told them it was wrong. They threatened to arrest him. He wound up quitting and leaving. And a couple months later, they criminally trespassed me from my entire town. I wasn't allowed to go to any public property. If they even found me on the sidewalks, I would be arrested. That lasted for about 3 months. And I don't know if you know C.J. Grissom, but C.J. Grissom's my attorney. He got involved.
Wait.
And he got that.
Say that last. What about the sidewalk? Say that whole last little thing again, because it sounded big and it was very quick.
Okay. Yeah. So they criminally trespassed me from my entire town. They even the city secretary was asking questions, where can I go? Where can I go? And basically I couldn't even get on the sidewalk. If I got on the sidewalk, they were going to arrest me for criminal trespassing. They did this because the councilwoman said I threatened to kill her and threatened to bring guns to the council, which that never happened. What it was a Facebook meme of Tom Hardy holding a gun, and they used that to criminally trespass me from my entire town.
You have a hearing?
Yeah, it's crazy.
When that trespass?
No. This is my 15th pre-trial for them raiding my gym and giving me. See, I'm an EH&S global director, so I deal with codes, and they came in and wrote up all these fictitious codes to my gym, and I've been fighting them for about 2 years now, and we're on our 15th pre-trial. They're trying to make me run out of money is what they're doing. It's mind-blowing.
But to have a criminal trespass, that's a whole separate case. Did they file an actual separate criminal trespass case?
Nope. No, ma'am. And everybody in the city's been asking them, what did Jason Followball do wrong? Show me the evidence. And they keep blocking me because the DA has labeled me a criminal because I had a code violation. And I'm sorry, I skipped. When they came in March of 2022, the guy came to my property without permission. He wrote me up for 3 citations. 2 of them, he was right, and I agreed with him, and I fixed. The 3rd one, he was completely wrong, and I said, no, I'm not fixing it. And then they kept coming back and harassing me. long story short, right before my court case for that one was June 21st, 2022, or it's going to court. They already knew I was going to beat the case. So 10 days prior to that, they had that same code enforcement guy come to my property and try to find something wrong to get inside my property. And I had a wooden pallet against my wall outside, and they used that as a rubbish code violation. And that's how the cops came to my door, wanted to kick in door and do a full other inspection because of a pallet outside.
Yeah.
Which is not a violation, by the way.
Well, even if it is, we have a few things. The Fourth Amendment, which protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. The Fifth Amendment, that protects us against unreasonable takings. The Eighth Amendment, that protects against unreasonable or excessive punishments. I mean, we could go on and on. Of course, the Fifth.
I'm with you. I beat them. I beat them on the warrant
process. I mean, the whole thing. Oh.
Well, I beat them. I beat them on the warrant, and they appealed it, and now I'm going to another court. I didn't even have an attorney yet, and I beat them on the warrant. They had no probable cause. You should have seen the judge that was taking the case was rolling his eyes at the prosecutor, like, "Are you really trying to prosecute this guy over a pallet?" And they got thrown out. But then they appealed and went to went to our county court now. So that's what we've been doing with me and CJ Grissom.
So,
which is our next court date's the 31st.
When was that issued?
October 2022.
I would love.
It might have been September. I'm sorry, September 2023. I believe somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'd love to see that actual court order because, I mean, you probably know this, I'm guessing, but for those of you who don't, and you're listening to the story and your mind is just blowing at all the ridiculousness here, what everyone needs to remember is that, first of all, number one, the U.S. Supreme Court does not hand down law. So there's no such thing as case law. Judges are not allowed to make laws, but that's what our legislative branch is for. But case precedent has firmly established for the last, 70 years or so. I can't even do the math. 60 years, 59 years, something. I want to say 1965 were a series of cases that made it very clear you cannot, and these came out of civil rights cases where Black individuals would go into, say, a library and sit in the white section, and that's all they would be doing is sitting there in a public building and not causing a disturbance, not doing anything wrong otherwise. And oftentimes it was a criminal trespass charge that was brought. And what the court cases that came out of that established, or made clear anyway, is that you cannot give someone a criminal trespass charge for being on property that is open to the general public at the time that they're there. So, for example, not that I agree with this, but there's all the parks around here in Volusia County and Ormond Beach, anyway, that I've seen. The parks have hours, and you can't be in the parks past certain hours, which I totally disagree with. But anyway. So let's just say that's legit for a minute. What they're saying is the park is not open to the public, dusk till dawn. And so if I go to the park during the dusk till dawn time frame, then in theory, I could be given a criminal trespass charge because it's not open to the general public during that time. Now, I was charged in the Allegheny County case that we've mentioned a bit tonight. I was charged, my main charge was, and the only charge for the whole first year until, anyway, that's a whole other story. But anyway, the charge was criminal trespass. So I was charged with criminal trespass on government property, on township property. And so it was the parking lot. It was open to the general public. And there was no dispute about that. So, except for the morons thought that they could tell anybody not to be on the property. So apparently they don't think it's open to the public. So just so that everyone knows, whether you're someone who, has been, okay so far, and all of a sudden you find when there's new mask mandates being put into place, you don't want to wear a mask and you go into a public facility and then they try to, all of a sudden you find yourself criminally charged with criminal trespass because you weren't wearing a mask or you didn't show your proof of vaccination with the COVID poison or whatever the situation is. If you are it doesn't even have to be a government facility. You could be, at a grocery store, Meijer in Michigan or Walmart in the South or whatever. You could be in any place that is open to the general public. and they can't give you a criminal trespassing charge because you are not committing a crime just by simply existing in a space where all members of the public are allowed to exist. Now, if you are disturbing people, you're disturbing the peace, if you are getting in the way of people being able to transact their business, if you are physically blocking a doorway, if you are, destroying property within the store or within the library or whatever place it is, those are separate charges that can come out for sure, but you cannot be found criminally liable for criminal trespass in a place open to the general public. Okay, so hopefully I made that point. Please continue.
Well, they actually did the criminal trespassing on the day I was going to a council meeting to talk. And they did it because the prior meeting, they started putting up this notice agenda to where we couldn't personally affront them and talk to them, said there was no cussing, anything like that. We couldn't single them out. And I basically told them it was complete bullshit and this is America and y'all can kiss my ass. Excuse my language. Then they got mad. And then the next time I came is when they served me criminal trespassing for the whole town. Then I got mad, so I had a peaceful protest about a month later, and these guys had the audacity to put sniper rifles on the high school near the city hall with guns pointed at us, with kids out there and everything. And then they tried to lie about it and say it was a camera, and my brother happened to go around the corner and take pictures of them and video. It was a sniper rifle. They had snipers up there, and then they did that again to me. When I went to vote, they put snipers on the roof, kept saying I was a threat. And every time I went to the council meetings, they would search me and only me and let everybody else walk by. And that still happens to this day. And then what's going viral is last month, they threw me out because I called basically all of them POSs because I caught the Chief Blanchard. I caught our chief. His name is Chief Blanchard. I caught him on a Freedom of Information Act. I got his suit. He bought a $1,247 personally fitted suit and took a trip to New York that we all paid for vacation, basically. And I was calling them out on it, and they kicked me out. And I tried to do it again just last week with CJ Grissom, and they basically started out with the mayor saying, no more personal affronts, I'm going to kick you out, blah, blah, blah. Then I got up there and talked, and immediately I called Chief Blanchard a piece of shit for stealing these suits, for stealing our money, and then they threatened to kick me out. And then the mayor basically told me it's a privilege to be able to talk to him, and I just lost my cool. And then the city manager tried to get involved, and the city manager basically said that I'm doing personal affronts and I need to leave. And I said, and then Ram is our mayor. He tried saying that I was defamation of character. And I said, no, what I'm telling you is 100% fact. And then the city manager said something to me again. And I said, y'all are pieces of shit. And then they threatened to arrest me under duress. And then my lawyer, CJ, went up there right after me and told him you don't call it case law, but case law, he's about cussing and what you can do and can't do. And he basically read it out to him. And the chief of police assaulted him at the podium, kicked him out, threatened to arrest him, and then assaulted him in the hallway. And he's a civil attorney.
Awesome.
So then we sat outside with these other cops, and they're trying to read us our penal code, right, for disorderly conduct. And I kept telling them, no, you're wrong. That's not it. I didn't threaten anybody. I wasn't being sexually explicit, nothing like that. If these guys are pieces of shit, I'm going to tell them they're pieces of shit. And then me and my lawyer talked to the cops, and my lawyer's smart. He goes, is anybody going to arrest him if he goes back in there? And they said, well, he didn't get criminally trespassed because I got criminally trespassed last time, right? So we walked back in, and you should have seen Chief Blanchard's face. I put it on Facebook and blew it all up, put it all over YouTube, but he was baffled that we got back in there. But they let us back in and didn't arrest us. So what does that tell you? There was never a charge. So they went after my First Amendment right. They didn't want me talking about a suit.
Right.
And that's the video that went viral everywhere.
Well, and it's a sad state of affairs when that's something that happens a lot. I mean, my first taking on the government, if you will, in a direct format was actually in that town of 5,000 people that I lived in, that my husband dragged me to. Thanks a lot. So it was the city manager that was constantly violating the rights of anybody. And I was finding this stuff out just reading the city council packets. It was right there for anybody to read. And I didn't have to do FOIAs. I didn't have to do information requests or anything. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I had our youngest, who's just turned 10 last week. I had her, she was still so small. She was still nursing. And I would go to these meetings and sit there, and I would take my 3 or 5 minutes, whatever it was, at the podium. And I would say each week I would address a new crime that they had committed. And I would say, this is this is the law you have violated. These are the rights you have violated. But this is how you can fix it. I wasn't somebody that was getting up there and just threatening them and doing whatever. Not that to say that, if you're calling them pieces of shit or whatever, that you don't have the right to do that. But I just want to be clear. I wasn't even doing that. I was going up there to say, this is how you've broken the law. This is the specific law you've broken, but this is how you can address it. This is a way you can fix this. And they would try to shut us down, and they didn't want us going to the meetings. The city manager did everything she could. She even made a list. She literally made a list, and she started with, it was this list of the top 11 people in town that were really, 3 of us were attorneys and the rest of us were just business owners. And she was going to stop us from going to these meetings. And what did she do? She said, well, I'm going to start with Kathrine Henry and I'm going to put her at the top of my list. Well, guess what? It put me through hell, but she's not there anymore. So, and I still was until I voluntarily moved. So
they got up there and called me the devil, and the chief, and this is a councilwoman, called me the devil, and I was Satan, and I'm dividing the community in a meeting. And then Chief Blanchard's mom got up there and threw the Bible at me and said I was a devil and Satan trying to, but at this time I was actually campaigning to be the mayor, and they had police officers get up there and talk about me, which is campaign infringement. Like, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah. And that same councilwoman sent me several cease and desist because I kept going to council meetings telling everybody that she forged her dead husband's will and stole his son's inheritance for $2 million. And she did it. And she didn't get any jail time. She settled out of court, but she kept telling me I couldn't say that. And I said, no, it's not defamation. You did it.
Right.
So they hate me.
Public, people that are in the public, that serve in the public, or whether they're movie stars or whatever, YouTube sensations, or whether it's somebody that's serving on a local township board or something like that, they're purposely putting themselves in the public eye. And so the standard, the bar to meet for what counts or constitutes defamation is very low in those scenarios. It's not like the average person who's just, if somebody tries to say something about my husband who purposely doesn't say much at all in public, in any groups of more than 4 people. So, they would have a much higher burden of, to be able to overcome to say whatever they wanted to say about it. But when you're in a public meeting, if you want to say that somebody's a liar, and, my friend Joel from Barry County, Michigan, has a very interesting set of meetings that he's been going to at the Barry County Board of Commissioners, where he's got this ongoing feud with them where they're trying to shut down his rights protected under the First Amendment as well. He's calling their public health department official a liar because she's lied in public records.
She's a liar.
Steered them wrong and everything. And so they're like, oh, we have this rule against public disparagement. You can't disparage. And, anyway, so he's been fighting this. I mean, I know countless people that are going through the same thing. At any rate, yes, I'm glad that you're continuing to fight. If your attorney ever just, I don't know, might find it fun to have somebody tag team with them to go to a meeting or not, hey, if you guys find a cheap flight and you want to fly me out, I'd love to go to one of those meetings and talk about the I
will take you up on that. Yeah, they'll wind up hating you too. And like I tell her, everybody always asks me why I'm so mad. And I'm like, if you watch my first videos, I was nice, calm, and polite. And what did it get me? They came in with 4 armed cops and tried to bully me. But I guarantee they thought I was a gym rat and stupid. And they didn't know my background was in codes. And when they came in, I kept punking them. And then so Texas is a cool state, guys, if you don't know. But Texas has mutual combat. So I challenged both chiefs to mutual combat at my gym when they were raiding it. And they both declined.
That's awesome.
They're not men.
It doesn't sound
anyway.
Anybody who needs their mom to come to the public meeting to speak on their behalf and call their enemy the devil just to try to shut them down doesn't really strike me as a real.
That's what it was.
So.
Oh, that's what it was. They did it on purpose for the voters.
Right.
Yep.
Well.
Yep. Crazy. I appreciate talking to me. It was a good chat.
Yes, and hopefully we can.
Yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know.
Yeah, let's continue connecting in whatever ways that I could be of assistance. I'd love to do that, and Keep in touch.
Well, we're getting you a plane ticket out here to come out here and talk. That's what we're going to do. That's the goal.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yes, ma'am.
Do
Thank
you
you.
have bail money though? You have to have enough money for plane ticket and bail money.
Well, I doubt they'll arrest you if they haven't arrested me yet, and I call them POSs all the time. So I think you'll be fine.
I don't know. I have a tendency to push buttons.